Alright, today I have a 2006 BMW 530i with the ZF6HP19. And I'm getting a hard code. The BMW code is 4E22, which is pressure control solenoid 3. And I scanned it with my small handheld scanner to see if I can actually get a generic code. And I did, and that's P0960, pressure control solenoid C low circuit. And the code won't clear. So we're going to drop out the valve body and we're going to ohm the solenoid to see if that's our problem, or it could be the mechatronic unit itself, because when you're dealing with something like this where the computer is in the transmission, the only couple things you got coming into that transmission are your communication lines, your powers and grounds, and I believe you also have for the MLP the L circuits, L1, L2, L3, L4. So there's no solenoid wires or anything, that's all contained within the computer itself. So we're going to drop out the valve body, we'll bring it over here to the bench. We're going to pull the computer off, the mechatronic unit off, and we're going to ohm the solenoids and see if any are no good. Alright, so I'll get head over to the car. I got the pan down because I want to let it drain overnight. And we're going to take the valve body out and bring it over to the bench and ohm the solenoids. Alright, so I will be back when we're underneath the car. Alright, so here's the sleeve. Alright, now we can get these bolts out and take this valve body out. Alright, so those are going to be all the T40. Okay, I just wanted to run and get a rig to put the bolts on. Alright, the last one. Alright, so let me get this down and we'll head up back over to the bench. This will come straight down. Alright, we're going to double check this bridge seal. Make sure that looks good. So we'll take that over to the bench as well. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to get all this stuff over to the bench. And we're going to continue over there taking the Mechatronic off and to ohm the solenoids, taking the computer off. All right, so I'll be right back. I'll see you at the bench. All right, so we're going to take the bolts out and we're going to take the computer out. So here's the pan. All right, so 6HP19. Here's the bridge seal, what looks okay, doesn't really look like it's cracked. And here's the sleeve, which I'm going to change when we go back together with it. Okay, so let's take these bolts out here. Be very careful. Alright, so here is the computer, the Mechatronic unit. Alright, so let's ohm these solenoids first and see if we by chance have a bad one. Now the research that I did, the pressure control C, or solenoid valve 3, according to the lineup, should be this one, but let's ohm and see what we got here. All right, so we're going to start with EDS1 solenoid. All right, we got 5.3. Very good. All right, EDS2. A minute, gotta get a connection here. Okay, that looks good. And here is 3 to saying this is what the problem was. So let's see what we got. All right, well this is definitely a problem. We got 2 ohms versus 5.3, and the code was for circuit low. So that definitely is no good. We got to change that one. All right, we got 5.3. 5.3. Let's just check this one. All right, and now let's go to the MV solenoid, and this is a little more. Let me just get a connection here. That's 10. Okay, so that looks good. All right, so 3, just like the code said, is our problem. And when with this code, with this problem, solenoid, you did not have to step on the brake to get this car out of park. It would just come right out of park without stepping on the brake. So, all right, the next thing is, I got to see if I actually have a solenoid. I may have a solenoid that we can use. So what we're going to do, of course, I mean, ultimately, I like to put a solenoid kit in this thing because these things are such a problem. But this bracket here, you would take off and swap out the solenoid. So let me see what I can find here. I'm just going to put you guys on hold for a minute. I will be back. I'm not sure if I'm going to have it, but at this point, what I got to do is talk to the customer and see how far he wants to go with this. If he just wants to change to 1, but I do want to explain to him that these solenoids are such a problem, and the price came way down. He probably should put a kit in it. Maybe overhaul the valve body with a solenoid kit and put it back in the car. I'm sure at that point we'll be okay, but this thing was totally in fail-safe. But this guy's pretty good, because this happened, as soon as it happened, he brought the car right in. He brought it to his wholesale account, and his wholesale account referred him to me. So let me just see what I have here, and I will be back in a minute. All right, so I do have a solenoid, but actually found one here. It's fairly new, and I did own it. It is good, but I guess what I gotta do is just get a price together for this guy and give him a call to see what he wants to do. So at this point, we definitely 100% found a problem. Let me just flip this back over. It is a shorted solenoid. And of course the code was P0960. Shift solenoid C low circuit. So we definitely confirmed that. There we go. Should be about 5.3 ohms. We got about 2 ohms. So at this point I'm going to let the customer know I did find the problem and what my recommendation is to do, and see what he wants to go do from there. Alright, so at this point I'll just probably have a follow-up in the description, or once I get the parts, I'll film, put the solenoids in. I'm going to see if he wants to go for a solenoid kit, and then we can reinstall the valve body. Alright, here is the follow-up video on this 6HP19. We did get an okay to perform the work, so I have the valve body apart and cleaned. I have my new solenoid kit in there. I have my new sleeve here. I have a new bridge seal, and I have a new separator plate that I'm going to be putting in. Alright, but I stopped here because I do get some questions on these rubber dampers, so I want to get a little closer. I'm going to talk about these rubber dampers. And on this particular valve body, as a way to identify it, I have 6 dampers here, and this would make this a generation 1. If I had 7, which would make it a 6HP19, generation 2 would be a 6HP21 and have 7. Alright, so let me get a little closer. I did have a couple of questions come in about these, so I figured now would be the best time to address it while I got the valve body open. And I just got to finish that up and put it together, put it back in the car. Alright, so let me get a little closer. Just be real quick about these, and I guess that's it. So let me get a little closer. Alright, so here are the dampers for this valve body, and for instance, here's one that is pretty much completely flat. Alright, here's one that's basically halfway, and one that's really not that bad, which is this one here. Okay, so the questions that come in are, how many different designs are there? Because on this one we got 4 of them that are completely flat, one that's getting there, and this one's really not that bad at all. And the answer is there actually is only one design. These things are just flat like pancakes, but they all should look like this. Okay, this is a brand new one that I'm going to be putting in. I have 6 of them, and there's only one design, and that's it. So when you have these flattened out like this, you could get harsh engagements, you can get harsh upshifts or downshifts. So we're going to be taking these out. Okay, look at a difference here. I mean, this one is just totally flat. Alright, so we're going to put each one in. And again, there is only one design. And then, just in case you can't get these, the rubber bumpers, the parts that go bad, they're really not sold separately. These I actually had left over from a kit, but there is an alternative. Actually, there's a couple of choices that you have if you were to do this. You know, if you're overhauling the transmission, and you would have to buy, I believe it's a Trans-Tech kit. They should come in the kit. If you buy an original ZF kit, which is what I normally use, they do not come in the kit. And Ericsson's also sells these, just, you know, the whole piece like this, if you wanted to do that. Or Sonics actually has a solution for this as well. All right, so we got all these done here. So now we got all new ones in. So then what we'll do is I'll back up a little bit and we'll just put these into the valve body. All right, so this rubber damper is going to face down. Okay, so it's going to go in like that. Let me just back it up, and I want to just show you an alternative that Sonics had come up with. And these, they have the rubber dampers with springs. I haven't used these, but I know people that have it because they come in the zip kits and stuff like that, and it works really well. All right, so just give me a second, let me back up so we can get a shot of the whole bench here. Okay. So let's just put these back in. The rubber again is going to face down. Okay, now this is pretty even with the top of the valve body, just a little bit below it, but when the flat one was in there, it was way down. Okay, and again, the alternative is through Sonics. Okay, they have a spring, and they also have the damper. And the spring, of course, is going to go in first, and then the cap will go, with a piston will go on top of that. I've never used these because I usually, you know, have enough of these to go around. But these do come in zip kits, and I know people that put the zip kits in. And, you know, they didn't really have anything bad to say about it because, yeah, they work pretty good. So you do have an alternative through Sonics. And these fit, okay, it says piston kit accumulators with springs, ZF6HP19, 2632, and also the Ford 6R60. But I think they have other ones also that fit like the GM cars, you know, like the 6T75s or the 6T40s. So they have, you know, they have these to fit a lot of different models. Actually, I'm not sure if the 6T70 takes them, but some of the GM front-wheel drive 6-speeds do take these. And also, I believe, maybe the Fords too. But I believe they are available for that as well. All right, so here's all the bad ones. So, you know, here's kind of like three different sizes almost, and that's a question that comes in a lot. You know, there are 3 different designs, and there actually is not. Again, there's just only one. Okay. And this car, those things were flattened out pretty good, and this one had 125,000 miles on it. All right, and here is the separator plate. And of course, to get the right one, when you have the valve body out, you know, you got to look at this number here, B052, A052, it's really the same thing, and give that number, which will determine which plate you need. That's what I give to my supplier. Okay. All right, so let me just see if I can back it out a little bit, and we'll just put this valve body together real quick. Okay. Alright, so I have my screens in place, all my check balls, my dampers with the new bumpers. Okay, so this. Okay, you know, I've seen these, you know, these check valves that actually damage the plate on. I saw it like once or twice, so that's why I elected to just sell the guy a whole valve body package and put a plate in, and I knew these dampers were probably going to be bad. Okay. So what we're going to do here is put a couple of bolts in. And then just to make sure everything is lined up, because the lineup pins are in that Megatronic unit, I'm going to put that in and then tighten up the bolts and take it back out again. Other than if you tighten everything up, may not be able to get that on. So I got these, you know, basically hand tight here. Okay, I'm going to flip this over. But you certainly want to be careful, because this is an expensive item. Alright, let me just back out. Actually, let me just raise it up a little more here. Okay. All right, you have your input and output speed and your MLP here. All right, so you got one here, you got one here. Okay, that went in nice and easy, but we're actually going to put this thing in. Now I actually could probably leave this thing in. But I did not catch the manual valve here. Okay, so let me just raise back up a little bit. And then your longer bolts hold the Megatronic unit on, so here's the difference in the valve body bolts. One here. Another one here. Okay. I'll just tighten them up real quick. Alright, where's my socket? Okay, I have this about 70 inch-pounds. Really no set pattern, so we just kind of start from the center, in the middle. The Mechatronic unit there. Finish up, maybe. Oh, it's okay. I thought somebody was here. Okay. All right, and that's it. So this was the 06, I believe, 530i. And we had a code P0960 or a 4E22, which is a pressure control solenoid C-low circuit. This actually was the problem solenoid, if you remember. Very low ohms. It should be 5.3, I think it was about 2 ohms. So we did a valve body overhaul. I actually, I'm putting a new bridge seal in because these are a problem, new sleeve, because they like to leak. And the pan I always like to change because it has the filter incorporated in it. The pan actually is here, I just got to grab it. And that's it. So I thank you guys for watching, have a great day, and we'll see you next one.